Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw Control Podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by senior on the Fairfield women's lacrosse team, Brynn Donnelly. In her lacrosse career, Brynn has played in 44 games and has 274 career draw controls. Last season, she set the Fairfield single season draw controlled record with 129, which allowed her to make the All-MAAC first team. She also won the All-MAAC second team. She also made the All-MAAC second team and MAAC All-Academic Team last year as a sophomore. But most importantly, Brynn has helped her team win two MAAC championships as well as make the tournament three times as well. So, Brynn, welcome to the podcast, and how is everything going?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Everything's going well. We just moved in a couple weeks ago, so just getting settled into things, but yeah, everything's good so far.
That's good to hear. And obviously, how has fall ball been going for your team? I saw that started out for most teams this past week. So, has your team started fall ball yet? And how's that been going for you and the team?
Yeah, we actually just finished like our testing and had our first full like 2 weeks of practice. We start games next week at Princeton. We play Princeton and UAlbany, I think. So we're excited for that. But everything's been going well in the fall so far. We have a couple new coaches, so we're just kind of feeling things out and getting settled into things. But yeah,
Nice.
everything's
How the new players look?
they're good. We have a really good freshman class. They've really held up well, so we're excited to see them in fall ball.
Now, how was your summer this year? Did you do anything interesting both on and off the field?
Yeah, it was fun summer. A lot of lacrosse. I coached for my old club team, Philly Blast. I did draws for them, and then off the field, I spent a lot of time at the Jersey Shore. My family has a house in Ocean City. Other than that, took some trips to visit some teammates, so that's always fun.
Nice. That sounds like a very good summer. And obviously, it's pretty crazy to say, but you're a senior this year. So, as a senior, what type of leadership do you want to bring towards the team? Would you consider yourself more of a vocal leader or lead by example type of player?
Yeah, we have a really big like senior fifth year class, so we're all trying to kind of like step up and show the newcomers and like lead by example. But as for draws, I would consider myself more of like a lead by example type player. I always like try to give the freshmen tips on like what's worked for me. Because I had like a when I was a freshman going in, I had a fifth year like do that for me, and it was just really helpful. So that's kind of the role I take.
Now, I want to sort of transition and talk about the beginning of your lacrosse career and sort of work to where we are now in your career. So, from my research that I did on yourself, it says that you're from Havertown, Pennsylvania. So, talk about growing up there and how did you start playing lacrosse?
Yeah, Havertown's like a very tight community, so I would say like growing up playing all the sports I played, I had a lot of the same teammates, so they kind of just became like my friends like growing up. So I'd say we had like a lot of chemistry kind of on the field. But I started lacrosse in third grade. I played for my township team, and didn't join a club team till about eighth grade or seventh or eighth grade. But yeah, so
Nice,
was it.
nice. Sorry for mispronouncing your town's name. Now, growing up, did you have like a favorite lacrosse player or team that you like to watch?
I would say like more so my college career. I watched a lot of Kate Mashevsky in Syracuse. She's someone like draw wise that I definitely try to play like because she has like the height and she's able to keep it really close to herself. But she's someone I watch a lot.
Now, before college, you played for Mercy Academy. Talk about your time there and what was like your favorite memory with that team.
Yeah, Mariam is definitely a big reason why I chose Fairfield. I had a lot of like connections to the team through to Fairfield's team through Marion. I knew some girls that went there. But it was a really like small like Catholic all girls school, so I had a really like great group of friends, and we all played lacrosse. Like even if we weren't the best, like some of my friends just like picked it up senior year. Um, but it was a lot of fun. My favorite memories probably like all like the team bus rides and sleepovers and stuff. Some stuff
Nice.
I forget. Yeah.
Now, you also played club lacrosse for Philly Blast. How did your club lacrosse experience sort of help prepare you for college with Fairfield?
Yeah, Philly Blast definitely prepared me for college, like with their level of intensity at practice. Like I said, my high school team like wasn't super competitive at the time in our league, at least. So being able to just go to like blast practice after high school practice was kind of like a change of pace and speed, which was nice to kind of play with girls that were also going to play in college. But yeah, Philly Blast is like a really great club, and they're only getting bigger as the years go on.
Now, what was your recruiting process like with Fairfield, and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, I had probably a little bit of a different process because of COVID. September 1st was, I think, we were like nearing the dead period, but September 1st, Fairfield was the only school that had called me. And I knew I wanted to go there, like lacrosse wise or not. And then over the winter, I had like a few other offers from schools that I was like kind of on the fence about, but I ended up waiting for Fairfield for the till the next summer because they were waiting out the dead period. Um, and I'm so glad I did because I wouldn't have ended up here. But yeah, everything just like kind of fell into place and like worked out how it was supposed to. So I'm happy about that.
Now, once you got to school as a freshman, what was like the biggest adjustment you had to make to college lacrosse?
I'd say the biggest adjustment was probably just the pace of the game in college lacrosse. Everything like even like practice, lift conditioning, everything's like much more fast paced and intense than high school. So yeah, that was probably the biggest adjustment that I had to make.
And in your freshman year, your team won the MAAC championship for the first time in your playing career. Just talk about that game and sort of what you remember from it.
Yeah, that game was really special because that was like my first championship ever. I've never been in like a game with that high of stakes. Um, but I just remember we took like a really early lead and kind of just never let up. And it felt like we like had them the whole game, but I just remember like the last 5 minutes it really like set in and became real. It was like the best feeling.
Now, you played your first tournament games against Loyola. Talk about your first tournament experience and sort of what you took away from it that season.
Yeah, being in the NCAA tournament's like such a cool experience every year, and every year has been like different for me. But the Loyola game specifically, I was the backup draw taker, and kind of that whole year I was in like a learning position, because we had a fifth year Nicolette Lavista who kind of like showed me all the ropes and stuff. Um, but yeah, I was definitely in a learning position that game, but it was still like a really cool experience. But I would say like everything that she had taught me is like the biggest thing I would take away from that game.
Now, you got to play in the MAAC conference. Talk about what it's like being part of that conference and just the competition you face each game.
Yeah, the MAC competition is definitely a little different than the competition we face in our out of conference schedule. But for Max, like we always know that teams are coming for us, and like we're kind of the team to beat. So we take it very seriously. We have like hours of film, and we have a scout team. Um, but yeah, we take Max very seriously.
Now, what would you say has been like the biggest improvement you've made to your game over your career since your freshman year?
I'd say this past season, my junior year, the adjustment I made, I was able to keep it a lot closer to myself. And in my freshman sophomore year, I was kind of doing circle draws to my two circle girls, but this year I really tried to keep them like really close to myself and in tight.
Now, you are one of the best draw takers in the country, so how do you work on your draw strategy and how do you use your height to your advantage? I don't want you to reveal too many of your secrets in case any opponents might be listening, but any sort of insight you can give on that part of your game would be really interesting to hear.
Definitely, yeah. We do a lot of draw reps like out of practice. We're always like at least 30 minutes before practice. We're always like doing whistle starts, wrist strength stuff. But I constantly am like a very big film player. I like to like watch film on myself and see how other people are scouting me. Um, and as for my height, I'd say it's definitely an advantage. I try to keep a lot of like balls like out of range of just the other draw taker. So that's definitely a big advantage for me personally.
Now let's talk about your sophomore year. So in your sophomore year, your team got huge upsets against UConn and U Albany to start the season before losing to Niagara in the MAAC Championship. What was it like getting those upsets earlier in that season, and what did your team learn from that loss against Niagara?
Yeah, that season was a lot of fun. It obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it was kind of the first year that we were getting like a lot of national recognition. And even in that loss after in the championship versus Niagara, like still getting that at-large bid was like such a cool thing to experience and something I'll probably never experience again. But after that loss to Niagara, we were all kind of just like crushed, and we came back the next year like telling ourselves that we'd never let ourselves down like that again, and we never wanted to feel like that again. So coming back last year, my junior year, and winning it was really big.
Yeah, let's talk about this past year. So your team dealt with a ton of adversity as you started off the season 3-6 before finishing the year 6-1. How did your team handle that tough stretch? And what would you say was like the key for your team's turnaround in the middle of that season?
Yeah, last season out of conference was definitely the toughest time I've had on the team like so far here, but I'd say the way we got out of it, we just had like a lot of tough conversations like between each other and our coaches. But we still were trying to stay positive and like celebrate the little things and the little wins that we did have. But we like kind of just tried to stay positive because we really wanted to find a way out of it. Um, and we all knew we could do it. We just had to like have the right mindset. But yeah.
Now you won another MAAC championship this year, beating Iona 12-7. What did this championship mean to you, though, as a junior, and given the fact that your team went through a really tough start this season and what happened last year, losing to Niagara?
Yeah, winning another MAAC championship last year was probably the best feeling I've had so far, just because I felt like being on the field for that championship, I kind of had more of an impact on the outcome of the game. Um, but after the out of conference that we had, we were just like so proud of everything that we had done and accomplished that year. It just made the win feel like 10 times better that we've been not expected to win it, but we were able to pull it out.
Now you faced Maryland in the tournament this year. Talk about that game and just the experience of playing one of the best teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Maryland was a really cool game just because their team I watched a lot growing up, and they're just such like a cool like Big Ten team that you would never expect to be playing there. But um, it was just like a cool full circle moment. And even though we lost, we always have fun just um, leading up to the game, like a lot of like pregame stuff. But it's definitely something I won't forget. Like I said, like all my NCAA tournament like experience have been very different, but they're all really special.
Now, what are your team's goals and expectations for next season?
This year, obviously, we want to win another MAAC championship. As far as our team goals, we have a new coaching staff, like I said. So we really want to try to be as open-minded as possible, and be ready for new ideas and stuff. But yeah, our goal every year is obviously to win the MAAC and be competitive in the NCAA tournament. So just taking the steps to get there.
Yeah. What's the new coaching staff been like? Has it been hard, I guess, to learn the new systems, or has it been is it easier or harder to learn new systems than I think it is?
I mean, they're great. So they're two Fairfield alums, so they know us inside and out. It's Caroline Mangan. She was my fifth year captain when I was a freshman, so she knows us really well. So I'd say not much has changed. It's not as hard as you'd think, but it's definitely a lot of like new faces because I know her, but a lot of our underclassmen don't. So just trying to welcome them and be open to their ideas and stuff.
Yeah, is it weird though, I guess, from like since you were a teammate, obviously that relationship is a little bit different than a relationship with the coach. How do you I guess, is that sort of an adjustment to make?
Yeah, I mean, Carol's like she's still one of my really good friends like off the field, but when we're on the field, like she's my coach and everyone knows that. And Kelly, I never played with Kelly, but same thing for her. Our fifth years played with her. They're great. We sit in their office for like hours and hours and just like talk. But on the field, we understand that there are coaches and they're trying to make us the best possible team possible. So
Nice. Well, let's transition now to a segment I like to call the non-lacrosse segment, where I ask you non-lacrosse questions to get to know you more off the field. And I'll try to answer some of these as well to make it more interesting for the folks listening at home. So first one is who has the best off the field style on the Fairfield women's lacrosse team?
I would say Kelly Hag. She's a junior on our team.
Nice. I don't know many players in your team, or at least them off the style wise, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say Brynn Donnelly has the best style on the team.
Yeah.
Now, what would the perfect day look like for you?
At Fairfield, I would say probably waking up. We live right on the beach, so it's like the best possible spot for us. And then maybe we have practice usually 9 to 11, so maybe like a fun competition day practice. And probably come home, sit on the beach, hang out with my roommates or teammates, like grab dinner at one of our favorite restaurants in town, maybe some ice cream and like put on one of our favorite shows. That's probably the perfect day for me.
Now, what is something that you learned about yourself in the past year?
I would say something I've learned in multiple different aspects of my life is like when things get harder in lacrosse and life, like you have to learn to keep moving every day and doing things that make you like personally feel accomplished, which could look different for everyone. Um, but it makes you feel even better about yourself when you do overcome like that difficult game or day. It makes it much more worth it. So.
Now, obviously, everyone knows you as a great lacrosse player, but what is something you wish more people would notice about you?
I would say probably lacrosse wise, I think people don't realize how much time like draw specialists or Fogos like put into their game. Like there's a lot of technique and film that goes behind it. And I think that's something that's like a misconception about. I feel like people just think it's like just taking the draw and getting off, but there's a lot more time and technique and effort that goes into it.
Now, what's been the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Um, we just my roommates and I all watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, so probably that.
Nice. Now, last non-lacrosse question, or sort of, this is sort of a lacrosse question, but who do you think has the best jerseys in all of college lacrosse?
Ooh, I would say I really like UVA's navy uniforms. Those are
Nice.
orange writing.
Now, it's getting back to, I guess, the one last lacrosse question that I have, which is, from your perspective, what should be done to help grow women's lacrosse, just in general?
I think that women's lacrosse, at least since I've started in college, it's grown so much, and I think it's really cool that a lot of college players or like girls my age are like becoming influencers in a way and being able to make like money off of it. I think that's really cool that a lot of girls have like big followings, and I think it's great for the sport. I think it'll definitely continue to grow, like even as I'm out of college. And like a lot of younger generation players like look up to girls like that. So I think that's something that's really cool to see.
Now, the last question I always like to ask is, do you have any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, family members, or friends? And who should we have on the podcast next?
Oh, I'd say maybe my roommate, Catherine Chamis. She's a defender on our team.
Nice. Well, Bryn, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I wish you all the best for the fall and the upcoming season. And yeah, thank you for coming on. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you for having me.